So the hell squared mile, like what? Is it just because it's like a lot of bad shit has happened there?
Yeah, I feel like you could say hell square mile about a lot of square miles all over the place. Don't you think?
I mean, yeah, probably.
D, I don't think this West Virginia tourism podcast is doing it right.
As in, it's not selling the vision of going to a place that coal is being skinned. People are doing funny protests during the day and also burning down houses and killing people. And there's a mafia where there's a plane landing and importing in cocaine from Peru.
Yes, all of the above.
Sounds accurate. That might be because we're actually doing a recap of Hell's Square Mile on this episode of So Much Crime.
So little time. D, if you find yourself in a place called Hell's Square Mile, the first thing you might wonder is, why? Why am I here? Why am I in a place called Hell's Square Mile? This seems maybe not like the best place to spend my time. But that time would be more fun if you pull out your phone, go to patreon.com/somuchcrime, so little time. The hours in Hell's Square Mile will just drift away as you listen to extra time machine bits, outtakes from our show. And actually, it gets real cold at night in Hell's Square Mile. But if you have a hat or a t-shirt from our show to keep you warm, they're insulated? Are they?
I mean, they're more insulated than there'd be if you didn't have a hat on your head.
Yes. So anyway, patreon.com/somuchcrime, so little time. Support the show. Make it out of Hell's Square Mile. Thank you.
Welcome to So Much Crime, So Little Time. I'm Dee.
And I'm Jeff. And before we start, just a quick warning.
Warning? Do we need to warn here? I don't know.
But this episode is going to have something akin to spoilers for Hell's Square Mile. We're discussing the whole series.
If you haven't listened yet, check out our preview episode on this show. It's the one before this one in your feed.
And we put a link to this show in our show notes. All right, Dee, before we get into it, let's do a quick recap of what we're talking about.
Me? Am I supposed to recap? That'll be interesting. So this podcast was released in 2024. The hosts are Kendall Perkinson and Sarah James McLaughlin. There are 3 episodes in total, each in and around 45 minutes in length. But Jeff, tell us, what was the story that we covered in our preview?
Yeah, so in that first episode, we went back to Pangea, remember it well, and learned about this rural part of West Virginia in the mountains. We heard about everything from the first white settlers to some terrible things happening throughout the 20th century. Then we kind of honed in on Walter Curnutte. He was born in 1900 and led an eventful life. This included a story about this murder involving a couple of fox hunters who were feuding with some farmers back in 1917. And then in 1975, when Walter was 74 years old, he was murdered. And we started to hear just a little bit about him and about that crime. And that's kind of where we left it. So we went off, we listened to 2 more episodes. We got a lot of suspects, a little bit of mafia. There was some talk of cocaine. And a fair amount of talk about coal. A lot about coal.
A lot about coal.
And 1 missing German Shepherd.
Yeah, I don't know if the German Shepherd was given enough airtime.
I don't think so. I was worried about the German Shepherd.
Yeah. So, do you know what I've been trying to lean into recently in my life in general?
Oh.
We're turning to therapy.
Okay.
Is like, sometimes I question my capabilities, my intelligence. This is actually, I'm not doing a bit here.
I believe you.
This is true.
Yeah.
I figure other people must understand what's happening and it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. That's my kind of default. And in work and in life, I'm trying to lean into saying, I'm a bit confused. I'm unsure, I'm unclear. Can we explain that a little? Can we define that? That's what I'm trying to lean into. And so part of me when listening to all 3 episodes was like, it's me. I'm not understanding what's happening. And then I said, no, wait. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I do understand what's happening. And so, yeah, that's where I want to start.
How does this make you feel, Dee?
You know what? The similarities between this and, in fact, I meant to look up the name of the podcast that we listened to. There was 2 of them. One of them was based in Campbell. And then the other one was like the sister podcast to that.
Oh,
remember the Campbell story?
Crime Capsule, the McGlinchey killings. Yeah.
There was Crime Capsule, and then there was... So this podcast to me this feeling, this podcast style reminds me of Crime Capsule and Dark Histories. And I do think Crime Capsule in particular did a better job at engaging me in its story. Here, I felt like I was getting lost in the history. There was a lot of jumping around. I didn't understand why we were at the drug sting. Like, I didn't connect it.
Yeah.
And I'm good at connecting stuff. So I decided I wasn't going to re-listen. I was going to take that as an indication that this podcast was not for me. I was not the target audience.
And you sort of predicted that in our preview.
I did.
You anticipated
I'm
this.
always right. Yes.
Well. But I think in this case, yeah, I think that's fair. I think I'm a note taker.
Yeah.
Love a good note. And I was listening
How many people have you written down? How many names have you written down for this podcast?
Quite a few. And then at some point I just stopped because I was like, no, I don't know. I'm not gonna remember who any of these people are in a week. But that was after I wrote down probably, 15 names.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was Mabel's list of 7, which I wrote down the whole list. There was the Spatafor, the mafia guy. There was the AJ Wade, the PI, who they said was a great PI name, and it's okay. AJ, that's not like
Wade. AJ Wade. I mean, it's pretty good.
All right, it's pretty good. I never got the German Shepherd's name. If they mentioned it, I missed it.
Can't believe you didn't catch it.
And I didn't get a degree in like public records searches or what like land transfers. Yeah, titles. Yeah.
So I didn't know what she was talking about when she said, it started with the title search and she started talking about it. Like, it took me a minute or so to be like, what titles? Like, what titles are we looking for? Like, I don't...
Like land and house titles.
I don't understand. No, I know that now, Jeff.
Okay.
But my point is, they like say these things. It was like the stakes, the surveyor stakes. I'm like, take a moment to explain.
I will say this. One of the things, because we talked about in the preview, that I was listening for were like how many of these things that seemed to not have any connection came back here. Like the tomahawk. And even I would say in that second episode, in the intro, where they recap what happened in the first episode, and they take a moment to say, okay, and they, in 1774, when they killed the indigenous people and they skinned them and they used their skin to make like a powder bag or something like.
Yeah. It never comes up again.
Yeah. That's not a detail you just drop that doesn't have anything to do with any of the story you're trying to tell. It's gruesome. It's horrific. It's interesting, I guess, but it's completely irrelevant.
So the Hell Squared Mile, like, what is it? Just because it's like a lot of bad shit has happened there?
Yeah, I feel like you could say Hell Square Mile about a lot of square miles all over the place. Don't you think?
I mean, yeah, probably.
I feel like there were a lot of interesting elements to this podcast. I think the story itself was interesting. I think some of the research was really strong. I think some of the people were really like there were some great characters in this. Mabel, maybe most of all.
I know, and they do call her out as being like their favorite character. Definitely a thorough investigation. They were very respectful throughout. I did think that there was a smattering of things that I thought were questionable to say.
Do you want to repeat them now?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
From episodes 2 and 3? I'm not sure.
There was definitely 2 examples I have. They kept referring to the indigenous people as Indians.
Oh, that was in episode 1. Yeah. That jumped out at me. That's not the term we use these days, right?
No.
I didn't think so.
But I don't know. I did feel like the presentation of the facts for the most part was really respectful. Mm-hmm. And it felt kind of authentic. Like it felt like they were just sitting around kind of like a book club, but for history of an area and like a case, you could feel their passion.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take away from that. I just was...
I know what you're getting
at. I don't know.
No, I think it's... The elements are there. I think where it's lost in the edit.
Yeah.
It needed to just sort of have more kind of connective tissue, kind of a through line that was missing.
Yeah.
Because the pieces were all there.
The pieces were all there.
It's a fascinating story about interesting people.
So fascinating. And like for so much to have happened to Walter Curnutte in his lifetime, that was like... I don't know. It feels, and for Mabel to be involved, Mabel definitely strikes me as a little bit of Agatha Christie vibes.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a Murder, She Wrote vibes.
Miss Mabel is Miss Marple.
Is that Agatha Christie?
No, I don't think so.
The
Miss Marple,
elderly, housebound, can't drive, younger sister.
Agatha Christie. She did. Sorry.
Okay. Investigating her brother's death, doing letter writing campaigns because that is the thing she is best at.
Amazing.
Trashing the local police, getting the state police involved, hiring a private investigator because she's not happy with what the state is doing, offering her own reward, having this list of her list of 7. She has 7 suspects that don't include the only person who is actually charged with the crime. And her list of 7, like she also like she had these tapes, right? And she like doing this thing of going through the tapes and going through the photographs because her brother was such an obsessive person of like documenting everything, also a womanizer, and trying to notice in the tapes how many people were sort of like interested in things about his house. Like how clever is that?
Fascinating. So clever. And the whole thing is just like really fascinating. And that's what I think you're right. I think the story itself is so there and the journalistic element is there and the passion is there. It just, for me, it just doesn't land.
Well, no, I think that's right. But also like, sorry, I'm just looking at this list of 7. That list of 7 is its own podcast. Like multiple girlfriends, including women who were married to other men. This Richard Radcliffe and his 14-year-old wife who were living in the woods.
Wild.
He was like AWOL from the army.
Twice. For the second time.
The girlfriend whose house he went to for dinner who lied about them drinking wine because there was no wine found in his system.
Yeah.
The local yokels.
Also, like, I feel like we need to hear more about the women protesting the coal trucks.
Yeah. Yeah. So people upset about these coal trucks rumbling through their town, mucking up the roads.
And what did they say? Oh, that was one of the things that was said. You know, obviously the men were at work, so the women had to
right, because it's like the
protesting.
60s and 70s when this is happening.
Yeah.
So many interesting elements to this. But yeah, I wish it held. I wanted this to hold together more. It's a great title, Hell Square. But again, the title, was it even really talked about after Pangea?
I feel like it was kind of mentioned, but it was never really like a focus.
I think it's an inappropriate title. I think the title is misleading.
Inappropriate is an interesting word.
It doesn't fit. It's not delivered on.
You know what's so fascinating to me is apparently like the first season of this Did you say this in our preview that the
Yeah,
first
the
season
co-eds.
is supposed to be really good? And actually, I felt like they kept on referencing it,
They did. Yeah.
which I found intriguing. I was like, oh, I want to know what you're talking about. I don't want to be left out.
But I don't get the sense that you would want to listen to the first season.
I wouldn't.
Would you?
Part of me thinks that the reason I didn't like this, I think it was rushed. It's this part 3, season 4, listener suggestions, episode 3, 4, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm like, are they just like banging stuff out here to get through it? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, the titling convention suggests not a lot of thought.
Yeah, and then actually season 4, okay. Listener suggestions, part 1, part 2. The next 2 are like really soon after. That's like, this is called the Sunnyside Rapist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I would wonder whether the more long form season, that first initial season, I would love. I just kind of wonder if I would have the same feelings on it.
Yeah, I don't, maybe. I mean, it stands to reason that season probably holds together better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I feel like and I've complained in the past about cold cases where there's a lack of resolution and kind of ask more questions than answers. This one definitely did that, right? Like,
Just kind of ends.
it just kind of ends. I mean, at near the end, it's asking these questions about like things that were alluded to, but then just kind of come into focus of like, okay, so why was this murder so violent? Like, none of these theories really make sense. Why did they move the body? What's up with those missing files under the letter S? Some of the suspects begin with S, but like, why draw that much attention to it? Like, how do you murder a guy who keeps such meticulous records and get away with it?
Yep.
Like, I don't know that we've ever talked about a victim who documented their own life so thoroughly. Also, how was this guy such a curmudgeon who so many people didn't like, and yet he had all these girlfriends?
Well, no, he was a nice man too. He was just a little bit rude to certain people. Remember, he was very generous.
This contrast between this seeming womanizer and what his nephew, a great nephew, described him as, like, he's an outdoorsman. He looks outdoorsy.
Like a farmer.
Yeah.
Like an outdoorsy types of farmer.
Yeah. I don't know. At 74, he was still getting out there.
I love the way you struggle to figure out how to finish that.
And that man has been murdered. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was 50 years
But
ago.
like, I mean, fair play to him though. Like he didn't, yeah, because like he didn't get married. He got married. It obviously was terrible. He never like did that again. And that's referenced. So
Number 6 on the list of 7 was Mildred Thornton's husband. And so that was like a small little story, but it's okay. So like Mildred Thornton was a woman who was apparently in love with him, and they were having an affair. She married her husband when she realized that Walter wasn't the marrying type.
mm,
And we don't know exactly when that happened. We know that she was still on the suspect list when he's 74 years old. But like, was this a relationship that started when he was 72? Like, what was it when he was like 30? Like, I don't know. It is a small town in rural West Virginia, so it's possible that these people knew each other their entire lives.
mm-hmm.
We don't know. I don't know. I don't like leaving with more questions, but it's certainly like there were just so many interesting bits. I do like interesting bits.
There were so many bits. It felt a little bit like, I don't know if you've experienced in your house of anyone that does this, but when I decide I'm going to like clear out something, I'll whip it all out. I'll throw things in the bin. I'll make piles. I'll get organized. I'll have a plan. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm too tired. And I just leave an absolute chaotic mess. And other times I get a little bit further and I get lots of things organized. And then the stuff that I've questions on, like I just run out of steam and I just leave them there. And it feels a little bit like that was the case here, where they whipped a lot of information out. They're like, this is so interesting. So many little tidbits are interesting. We want to leave it all in because it's so interesting. Running out of steam, let's just fire it out there. And like, I think you're right with the edit. I feel like that final edit, that through line,
Yeah.
you know, that should have been tighter. we should have heard less about, the 1700s and more about the German Shepherd.
The 1700s didn't end up having anything to do with anything.
I know. Like, why do I know about David Morgan?
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
David Morgan didn't
Willie
do
Morgan, a little bit mattered. He did matter.
But David
we could have
Morgan
started there.
Was dead for 200 years.
And why were they inferring that something was happening with the brother and sister in the Morgan household?
Didn't matter. Pangea, kind of irrelevant to the story.
But that would have been fine. And the whole setup would have been fine if it was shorter. It was just too much of the focus and the discussion.
The monument in the middle of nowhere.
12 foot. You probably could see it from the road because the trees weren't there before. But
now the trees are there, so you can't see it anymore.
So nobody can see anything.
And how do they
how
do they get it out there? Like that's
And like, why does anyone want to celebrate the killing of 2 Indigenous people? And yet, tell me more about this drug sting and how that connects to, like, I get it, sort of, but like,
Also, they were talking about cocaine smuggling, but cocaine smuggling was really a thing in the 80s. He gets murdered in 1975. I feel like that's before.
But the cocaine smuggling happened in the 80s.
Right. So it seems like that's a bit of a stretch to connect that. Like, I get that, like, the mafia and some of these crime organizations were active earlier than that, but cocaine was teased from the beginning. And I mean,
salacious.
Yeah, it was Hell Square Mile is a salacious title.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is not one that I would recommend.
Agree. However, I think I want to listen to series 1.
Okay.
I have higher hopes.
I'm going to add it to our list.
Okay.
For someday. All right. I presume we don't have any reviews for this, right? This is too obscure.
Just one on Spotify, actually. It was really hard to find them. Jer E said, I've been binge listening to Appalachian Mysteria since I stumbled up on it a couple of months ago. I just want to congratulate you guys for the amazing job you're doing. But yeah, that is it.
So I think we're on the same page with this one. This one maybe wasn't worth our time, but also didn't take a lot of our time. So
this is true. Okay, before we go, don't forget to leave a comment. Tell us what you thought about our analysis of this podcast, our review. Did you differ in opinion? Are you Jer E? Tell us what you think, Jer E. And while you're at it, leave us a review. 5 stars really helps to promote the podcast and get it out there in front of other people. Thank you so much for your continued support, and we hope to have you listening with us next time. All right, Jeff, are you ready to go on a journey? For the first time this year, not the last time, but for the first time, we are going to go Irish, but we're going to go Irish and American. What do you know about Jason Corbett?
Nothing.
Excellent. Good place to start.
Okay.
We're going to start with an episode. Episode 9, The Murder of Jason Corbett and the Fairy Tale That Turned Into a Nightmare. That's brought to us by Crime World. It came out on the 10th of January, 2021. We're going to hear how Jason went through tumultuous time with 2 young kids. What seemed to be a fairy tale ended in murder. That's on the next So Much Crime.
So Little Time. So Much Crime, So Little Time is a production of Mind Glove Media. The executive producer is Paxton Caloriso. Our associate producer is Blythe Ty. Our theme music was composed by Vyacheslav Starostin. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to this show on your podcast app. And don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and a review. Even better, tell your friends. To join the discussion, look for us on social media. Check out the show notes for all the links. Thanks for listening.